My name's Jackie Chan, and I'm a second-year Masters of Education student at Lakehead University in Thunder Bay, Ontario. As a country, Canada is viewed internationally as a place of refuge that embraces inclusivity of all races, ethnicities, and peoples. Canada is still perceived as a country of opportunity where newcomers and immigrants feel welcomed and safe. A place to provide their children with fair and equitable education. These perceived values, however, have not been reflected in the way that Canada has treated Indigenous peoples and their children, especially in education, with the legacies of the Indian residential schools. Other legacies of serious tragedy and trauma, such as the 60s scoop and the loss of land as a result of forced relocations, have resulted in a cumulative emotional distress, psychological harm, and multi-generational trauma. Educational researchers, policymakers, and administrators are realizing that the ongoing impacts of colonialism, poverty, institutionalized racism, and toxic stress in school systems are resulting in greater serious mental health problems for Indigenous youth. Indigenous youth deserve better from education, from schools, teachers, and policymakers in this era of truth and reconciliation. My research focuses on how laughter and play can be used as a tool to promote positive well-being and a method to enact reconciliation in school spaces with Indigenous youth through the Tikkun Youth Project. The concept of the project comes from an ancient Hebrew phrase, which means to heal the world. Why laughter? There is a physiological rationale to the old adage that laughter is good medicine. The endorphins that are released through laughter assist the body's immunity by creating a barrier against the negative effects of physiological and psychological stress. In Northern Ontario, we focused on Indigenous youth well-being. We collaborated with the local high school's 4-Direction program. We began with building relationships by visiting the high school every week for drop-in sessions. We then approached and began collaborating with 4 First Nation youth leaders to assist and strengthen their leadership capacity through play-based training so that they could encourage their peers while empowering themselves towards embodied healing. This collaboration led to a 3-day youth retreat that was facilitated by the First Nation youth leaders, the teacher candidate healing mentors, and myself. The purpose of the retreat was to build positive healing relationships with Indigenous peers, non-Indigenous teachers, allies, and researchers. The 4 First Nation youth leaders gained so much confidence, healing, and belief in themselves that they were able to take on the international experience of the Tikkun Youth Symposium in Windsor, Ontario, and proudly represented their peers, culture, and identity through sharing their leadership in healing with gifts of drumming, ceremony, songs, and their own strength of voice.
Laughter is the best medicine.